Dear Anne, this is me, Lei. My grandfather Buddy was your favorite cousin, which makes you my distant cousin. You've always been a part of my life, and I feel the responsibility to keep your story alive and make a difference today. I've seen it all. Frankfurt, where you were born, Amsterdam, where you grew up and were forced into hiding, and then the camps you were sent to, Westerbork, Auschwitz, and finally Bergen-Belsen, where you died at the age of only 15. But your story didn't end here. Dear Anne, your story doesn't have a happy ending, but it's not without hope. The only survivor from the annex, your father, found his way back to Amsterdam.
When I returned, and after I had the news that my children would not come back, Miep gave me the diary, which had been saved by, I should say, a miracle. It took me a very long time to read it.
He read in your diary, "When I write, I can shake off all my cares. My sorrow disappears, my spirits are revived. But, and that's a big question, will I ever be able to write something great? Will I ever become a journalist or a writer?" Otto decided to publish your diary because he knew it was important. You wrote, "I want to go on living, even after my death." And that's what you did, Anne. Your words are still alive and were translated into over 70 languages and read all over the world. Your story was made into a play and then a film.
I want to bring out all kinds of things that lie buried deep in my heart.
And another one. And many other plays and films followed. The secret annex became a museum.
To the right in a few moments, at number 263, the third house from the corner, is the Anne Frank house.
And many famous people visited it.
Anne Frank.
Anne Frank.
Anne Frank.
They still talk about you, Anne.
Because if a young girl of 13 could take such militant action, then we could follow suit.
The only thing we have to remember is all her would-haves are our real possibilities.
From Brazil to Japan.
The Anne Frank exhibition is currently on at the National Gallery in Cape Town.
And from South Africa to the United States.
For the first time, you can see the annex where Anne Frank and her family hid from the Nazis without traveling to Amsterdam.
You've inspired so many people across the globe. I know you dreamed your writing would touch many lives, but did you ever imagine your words would travel this far? That more than 80 years later, so many people know your name, your face, your story. You, the once so bright and happy girl from Merwede Plain, are world famous. Dear Anne, you won't believe this, but in Argentina, your birthday, the 12th of June, is a day devoted to social inclusion and the fight against discrimination. Across the country, schools run activities inspired by you. Children read your diary, reflect on human rights, and create projects that promote empathy, kindness, and understanding across differences.
The teachers make special classes in each subject, and not only in the history part, but also in the social part, in the language part, in the literature, etc.
Yes, and it's really good that we remember it once a year because, well, we do know the story, but maybe if you read it on like 6th grade maybe, and 3 years later you just don't think about it anymore, you forget about it, or you tend not to respect it as much as you used to do.
Not only we are responsible of what is going to happen to our society and also with the world, but also to be aware to not repeat the same mistakes that we do in the past. That's something that we are not doing. All people deserve to be happy and have a good life. We don't have to judge anyone. It's a right that we all need.
Talking to these kids reminds me of something your father once said. His mission was to share your words with young people so they would stand up against discrimination and hate.
It is our aim to get people to understand each other. If they are black or white or Catholic or Protestant or Jews or Muslims, whatever, we have to live in one world. And as long as we don't know each other, there are misunderstandings.
Another place where they feel the importance of this message is the Anne Frank Center in Buenos Aires, devoted to you. They even recreated the hiding place for people to visit. I met a group of young volunteers who work here as guides.
The people like me, for example, that don't come from a Jewish family or don't have that connection to the history of the Holocaust. And then when you read her diary, you get to spend it's like you spend every day with her and her thoughts and her feelings and her routine and everything. It's like you get to know her as a best friend or as a family member. And that's when you connect with the story of the Holocaust and what she lived through. I think that's where the impact lies.
Why do you think it has such a big impact on Argentina and this place?
Holocaust film has a really a big impact in Argentine society because many Nazis came here, many Jews too. So we're really related to both sides.
I heard that you have a sample of the original chestnut tree, which was in the backyard of the hiding place in Amsterdam. Can you show me? Just like your story, the chestnut tree you saw from the annex that symbolized freedom for you lives on in many countries around the world.
It's so beautiful because it's like the most poetic and alive way to see her today.
Saplings from the tree were given to schools and organizations that uphold your message. Here under the tree in Buenos Aires, I met Naila. She won the Anne Frank Award for the work that she does. The competition honors significant contributions to fostering a culture of peace, inclusion, and awareness against violence and discrimination. What was it like for you to be awarded for this?
Fue un momento muy histórico para el colectivo, para la causa en general. A mí como persona me ayudó mucho a volver a verme como persona, no solo como una víctima.
When Naila was 13 and living on the streets, she found out that she was pregnant. She ended up in the childcare system and, after many bad experiences, now works to empower youngsters with a similar story. I guess maybe that's also something that is comparable with Anne Frank, where her diary became a platform for her to have a voice.
Que como grupo nos volvió a recordar el valor del testimonio. Yo me identifico más con Otto, intento construir algo más. Y con mi corta vida estoy intentando construir otra forma de vivir para otros jóvenes, un espacio donde sean escuchados, cuidados, para prevenir un montón de otras cosas, pero para quizás buscar la misma esperanza que necesité y que otros también necesitan.
Dear Anne, you, like no one else, understood that young people have the right to have a voice. You once wrote in your diary, you can't forbid someone to have an opinion, no matter how young they are. After talking to all these people, I'll visit the place where your story could have continued. My family house, where Budi lived and where your father hoped you would go after the camps if you survived. Hannah and I worked together to preserve our family home. We wanted to be a public place where people can meet, talk, and learn from each other. Through workshops, projects, and events, we aim to create a space where diverse voices are heard. Your words inspired us to take a stand against prejudice and discrimination, to open a space for every identity and every story. Ne, jetzt ist vorbei, diese Reise hier.
Eine intensive Reise?
Ja. Es fühlt sich komisch an, das ist jetzt schon... Und was ich total besonders finde, ist, dass ich die Chance bekommen habe, mit so vielen verschiedenen Menschen zu sprechen und viele Leute kennenzulernen, die dann wiederum auch irgendwie teilweise unsere Großeltern kennen oder kannten.
Es ist ja eigentlich so schön zu sehen, dass es so viele unterschiedliche Menschen trotzdem mit einer Nachricht erreicht werden können.
Aber jetzt auch nachwirkend und abschließend nochmal so zusammenzufassen, warum ich oder was gut daran war, dass ich das gemacht habe. Horizont erweitern auch und andere Perspektiven hören. Menschen zuhören. Und das finde ich mega inspirierend zu sehen, was ihre Nachricht kann, was das bewirken kann, was für Berge es doch versetzen kann. My dearest Anne, I followed your story from Frankfurt to Amsterdam, to the secret annex, Westerbork, Auschwitz, and finally Bergen-Belsen, to see where you have been and to discover the impact of your story. What moved me most was meeting all these different people along the way. Sheher in Italy and Amsterdam showed me how important it is to connect with people and talk about differences. Finding connection with others might be a way to fight for democracy and equal rights. I think back to Mohamedou, Eva, and Bella, who courageously told me their stories so that we can learn from them, just like my grandfather once told people about you. And I think about my conversation with Amjad, and how inspiring it was to talk with him, see his courage, and the way he brings people together. This journey ends here. But the responsibility I feel, this confrontation with our history, will always be there. Through the phenomenon you've become, I am given a voice. I feel I have no choice but to act, because hate, discrimination, and violence are not confined to one time, one place, or one people. But you know what else is everywhere? Hope. That was kind of your specialty in my eyes. And that's what I'll hold on to. You believed that we all can make a difference. You were right when you wrote the most meaningful of all thoughts. How wonderful is that no one has to wait, but can start right now to gradually change the world.